Welcome back to Drinkin' with Craig and Roger. I'm Craig.
I'm Roger.
3 bottles of whiskey in front of us. Tell me about them.
Well, these were given to me as a Christmas present by my wife, Ellen, who is a Bob Dylan fan.
Oh, okay.
And, I like Bob Dylan too. We've been to a couple of his concerts.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah. Have to stand for those concerts.
Right. Okay.
But there was a bar, so, that helped.
Okay, yes.
Anyway, Bob does like to drink whiskey, and so he gave his name to this, these whiskeys. We're not exactly sure where they're produced. They're keeping that, pretty under wraps. They do give you some information, but the real details of it are kind of hard to figure out. But that doesn't mean it's not a fine whiskey, and it doesn't mean that Bob is making a lot of money off of this. I'm gathering he might be giving his money to a charity. A lot of celebrities do that when they give their name to stuff, like Paul Newman and Newman's Own. That he didn't make any money off of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's guess that that's what's happening, and since they are related, working with Bob Dylan, the bottles have a representation of some of Dylan's metal art, because he does do that as a sideline.
Yeah, the art is cool. So he must make some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, he does. Anyway, so what we have here are 3. We have a straight bourbon whiskey.
Yep.
We have a double-barreled whiskey, and then we have a straight rye whiskey.
Okay.
And the bourbon is made in Tennessee, so the only company I know in Tennessee that's producing a bourbon right now is George Dickel. They have just come up with a bourbon.
Yep.
Of course, their regular product would qualify as a bourbon.
Right. So, I mean, you could just take that George Dickel distillate and, treat it like a bourbon and call it a bourbon.
If they really wanted to do something different, then what they would do is they would not filter it through charcoal before they put it in the barrel.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's also 92 proof, which is a generous, amount, and so it should be pretty good.
Okay.
And it's somewhere around between 45 and $50 a bottle. So it's not ridiculously expensive.
No.
You're not paying $300 for a bottle of whiskey just because Bob Dylan's name is on it.
Right. I'm gonna swirl it all along the Glencairn.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Nice smell.
Pretty nice. Definitely kind of tastes like George Dickel to me. Smells and tastes a little bit.
Oh man, the finish. Oh,
that's a nice finish.
It's a nice dry finish that's got a lot of grain husk in it. So you're really tasting, the part of the grain that wasn't malt.
Right. Yeah, and I'm getting maybe some of them, like peanut shells, kind of has a drying, like you said, kind of a drying finish.
And they don't tell you the age, but it's got to be somewhere between 7 or more years. It's very smooth.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, we've done some work with aging and the difference.
True. Yeah, the body is not huge, but that also just goes with the proof, I suppose. So, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think at its price point at about $50, really puts itself in some strong competition. I'm brought to mind with this kind of somewhat Dickel profile. Their bottled and bond, their 13-year bottled and bond, you can get for I think $40 to $45, something like that, which is pretty darn good.
Yeah, and these days you can still, I think, get Maker's Mark and Buffalo Trace at about 90 proof or so, like this, for less than 30 or around that much.
Yeah. So
there are there's a prestige value to this, I think.
Yeah, it's somewhat a celebrity product for sure, but it's pretty legit. Like, you're not going to be unhappy with it, you know.
No, you're
It's a
not,
pretty nice drink.
You're not going to put it on the shelf and say, I'm going to put it up there because it's got his name on it, and I'm not going to drink it because I don't like it. You know, that's not what's going to happen.
Okay, up next we are going to try the double barrel whiskey. There's a couple things going on with this, right?
Yeah. What we can find is that there are maybe 3 different whiskeys that are combined. The whiskeys are bourbons, of course. That which means they're aged in brand new oak, charred oak barrels, and then they're combined and put into another charred oak cask.
Yeah.
A new one to marry for another couple years.
Okay.
So they very carefully selected these to produce this.
Yeah.
Which, if we look at the color now compared to the straight bourbon, it's lighter, and compared to the rye, it's lighter.
It is a lighter color, which is curious since it's spent a lot of time in charred oak.
Yeah, new charred oak.
Yeah.
They should have given it some more color.
Right.
So I'm not sure about.
I think it's maybe not so old. Yeah.
Maybe not that old, but it's also 100 proof.
Yeah.
So it's a little more intense than it would be at the 92 that the other 2 are.
This one's also around $50.
About that, yeah. They're all somewhere around 50. I think the rye is maybe 70 if you get a 750 milliliter bottle.
Yeah, 70, 75, something like that.
But still, that's not absurd, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no. This is interesting. Has a something else on the nose, like some more of a rye type of nose to me.
You think?
I think so. Kind of what is it that's making you think that? Kind of maybe a little more floral in the nose. That maybe, kind of a rye.
I'm sort of getting sort of a sweet malty type taste in it, in the body. Caramel maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, light sweet body, and a kind of lightly spicy finish. Then actually the finish goes on for a little while, so not bad.
Oh yeah,
not bad.
Yep, finish goes on for still going on.
Right, it's got a pretty good finish.
So it's going to go on for like 30 seconds.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good finish, yeah.
The other, we've seen a number of double oaked, double barreled whiskeys. I think probably most notably the Woodford Reserve double oaked is pretty nice, and it's around $50. It's about the same as this.
Yeah.
I think it's a little lower proof, but definitely comparable. But it is much darker. It's a much, probably I'd say, richer bodied whiskey. But this does have some bonus points for the finish for sure.
And just as a matter of information, Woodford Reserve, which we are not tasting, but we might do in the future, is made primarily in pot stills, like Scotch whiskey, as opposed to the continuous stills that almost all the other bourbons are made in.
Okay.
And so that means, you know, that it takes more of an art to decide when you're going to save it and when you're going to stop. You know? And if you're interested in this, we do talk about this in our video on Scotch whiskey. We talk about the difference between the pot and the column still. And Woodford Reserve is the only one that I know of in this country that's using pot stills for bourbon. That it's a major manufacturer.
Right,
maybe some of the
ASW.
craft ones. The craft ones, that's something else.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
This is pretty good. I'm going to give it pretty good marks. Just a hint of that kind of George Dickel signature, kind of somewhat minerality on the nose. Don't think I'm tasting a ton of it right now. So if you're really anti-Dickel, I think this one might work okay for you.
I think it'd be all right. Anyway.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
So now we have the rye.
Yes. Now onto the rye.
All right. 92 proof.
Yum.
Okay.
Definitely smells like a rye.
Yep.
Now this is MGP. This is Indiana, so you know a lot of people are big fans of MGP, so that's pretty much a good thing there.
Yeah, they're just like every distillery.
Mm-hmm.
They put these things in barrels and they put them in their warehouse, and some of the barrels come out better than other barrels. And
Right.
You choose the right barrels, and you've got exceptional product.
Yeah.
And then the barrels that aren't so good can go into a cheaper whiskey.
I think that this is probably the same juice in there that was in the Emerald Giant, that rye whiskey that we reviewed out of California, which was really good. You remember that one?
Well, yes, I do.
I think it's the same one. They did something special with this, some kind of like a cigar barrel. You read up on it.
Yeah. It's supposedly aged in, at least some of it, in cigar oak barrels, which, to the best of my knowledge, are barrels which you put cigars in and then add something to them, whatever it is you're going to add, to give them an additional flavor component.
Okay.
It's a very tight-grained oak, which doesn't allow a lot of air in or out.
Okay.
And
really traps it.
it traps it in there, and then when you're done, there's should be some residual taste of tobacco in it.
Yeah, I think I
Which
can
is
pick that
okay
up.
as a residual taste instead of smoking it, but
I think I'm picking that up
yeah.
on the nose and the palate.
Tobacco, really has a very nice taste if you're going to chew it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not so excited about the smoke of the tobacco, but the plant itself, is a very, very nice taste. It's too bad that the components in it are if you use very much of it, they're things that irritate your body and maybe can cause diseases.
Yes.
But actually everything you come in contact with can cause problems if you get too much of it.
Yes.
Even, unbelievably, whiskey. You drink too much whiskey and it can hurt you.
Let's not talk about that.
Well,
Don't say such things. What do you think of the whiskey?
it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Fairly complex, very, very
It's
smooth and gentle.
Yeah, it's sort of a light body.
Light body.
But there is a little taste on top of it
You,
in the body.
yeah.
The finish is very, very mild.
Mm-hmm.
And it lasts a long time, too. I'm still tasting it.
Yes, not as long as this double
No,
barrel.
well, this was like shouting at you after you finished it, for a while. This is sort of whispering at you,
Echoes in the canyon on this one, and this one, it's a nice little.
It's whispering.
It's a nice little pet, nice little massage on your massage to your taste buds for a little while.
Very nice.
Pretty good.
I don't know how long these things have been aged, but they've been aged long enough.
Mm-hmm.
They are They are very smooth.
Yeah.
All of them.
Oh yeah, no, nothing harsh about any of them at all. Nothing overtly young, that's for sure. It's has a fairly rich, almost like a buttery rich component to the nose. Also, to me, it's pretty good. Now, $75 puts it in some very stiff competition.
Yeah.
Not sure if I'd have a recommendation along with or on top of this. I think it's about twice as much, if not more, than that Emerald Giant.
Yeah.
But
and it's probably 3 times as much as Jim Beam Rye, which is a pretty good, rye whiskey.
Yeah, you can check that out there. Also, we've done that one. Yeah, I mean it's true, but this is definitely a little more sophisticated and complex than a Beam Rye.
Well,
and has more maturity to it than the Emerald Giant.
Yeah, this is the kind of whiskey that like to sort of sit with a glass, maybe in front of a fire, maybe with a book, or maybe with, even if you like it, a cigar.
I don't know how well this would hold up with a cigar. It's not that strongly flavored. I would think you really need something with some punch to go well with a cigar. I don't
Maybe.
smoke cigars though, so I can't say for sure. But
Oh, a really nice cigar doesn't have a really strong taste.
I guess
You have to do that.
now you'll
Anyway.
taste it for like 30 hours afterwards, but
Yeah, that is true. That is why I don't smoke
you
cigars.
can't brush it out.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless,
Yeah.
it's the kind of thing for maybe a nice, relaxing evening at home.
I'd say that. Mm-hmm.
And whatever you like to do when you're relaxing, watching television, reading,
Yeah.
solving crossword puzzles. I don't know, whatever.
Okay.
They're good. There you go.
It's a good sipper. It's not.
They're all good.
They are all good. They are all good.
Whatever you do, don't take these whiskeys and put them in a mixed drink.
No, I wouldn't recommend that. They're a little too good for that. I think I'm not. None of them blow me away. I don't think any of them are like a tremendous value or a high recommendation. But I think these are good, and I think you'll be happy with them if you get them. I don't see too many people, calling it whiskey of the year or anything like that. But they are good. I really can't say anything bad about them. They're priced probably right about where they should be.
There's the celebrity value added, to it.
Always. Yeah, there's that. If you're the kind of person that likes to get celebrity stuff, usually it's somewhat substandard. You're going to pay a little more for that name than is worth. This one, probably one of the better of those, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. It's good. I recommend it. If you're really into the best value at the lowest price, these whiskeys don't quite cut it, but they're close. So
They're fair value.
No, this is not one of those whiskeys that cost $3,000, for something in a crystal decanter that, whatever. No, it's not one of those.
No.
This is meant to be sold to folks who like whiskey.
And probably like Bob Dylan.
And probably like Bob Dylan,
Yeah.
who, was one of the major, singers in the 60s.
Yeah.
And he's still going 50 years later. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, if you've enjoyed this and you like what we're doing, please give us a like and a subscribe.
And if you have questions, send them to us, and we'll answer when we get the time. We will do that.
Sounds good. In the meantime, we're gonna enjoy sipping on these whiskeys. So
I don't know if we've got the ability to drain these today.
no, that's not in the cards.
All right, but at some point.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.